Alright, what you see here is a new fan I got from Nathan, better known on YouTube as Epsilon 120. This is a Hampton Bay Carousel ceiling fan, and this one's a little bit different compared to the one from my childhood. It does look exactly like it. However, I am going to point out some differences with it. This one he got off of Marketplace. It was on Marketplace for over a year and never sold, and he messaged the sellers, and they still had it, so he picked it up. Now, he bought this more so because of the yellow canopy it came with. The one you see on it is not the original one. This is a replacement one I got online. Though, because of its not being the original one that came with this exact fan, it is more sun faded compared to the rest of it. But, yeah. Now, interestingly enough, with this fan, this one's a little bit older than the one from my childhood that I still have. That one is from November of 1998. Interestingly enough, the fan that he installed in his living room, which is also a Hampton Bay Carousel, it was one of the new in-box ones that he had. It was the one with the older box, which it's not the one that I found at Savers new in the box that I messaged him to pick up and such. It's the older version with the antique brass pull chains. Interestingly enough, that one is also from November of 1999, just like the one from my childhood. Now, he stole the canopy from this to put on that one when he installed it in the living room because he figured he might as well have it installed with a yellow canopy, which I don't blame him. So, with that being said, he figured he'd have the new box one installed, and he sold me this one. Now, before he sold it to me, he noticed that this one had some differences, whereas the vents on this one were skinnier. And that is what really made me interested in buying it. And also because it had the yellow canopy. Well, this is the variant that we're having. As I've been trying to figure out when was like the last year or era that they were selling them with the yellow canopy. So I believe 1998 was the last year. In 1999 going forward is when they started using the black canopies. Interestingly enough, also it has larger vents on the top side of the motor housing, but also it has the screws that hold the motor housing and the bottom plate of it together are not concealed on this one. They actually stand out. Here is the tags for it. The UL sticker says April of 1998, and the other one right there says July of 1998. Interestingly enough, the other 1998 Carousel that I have is from March of 1998, so it's literally 1 month newer than this one. Or 1 month older than this one, I meant to say. Now, what I suspect is that they changed the OEM for the Carousel around that time period, because each year around March, they would always come out with new fans and discontinue some of them. And back in the late 90s, they were jumping back and forth between manufacturers and OEMs. Some would be Aircool, CEI, SMC, King of Fans, just to name a few. I suspect that's what they did with the Carousel. I mean, there's some versions of the Carousel that you see with the skinnier switch housing, like the one with the pointed plastic blades, but they had instead of it having the plastic pointed blades, it would have the round blades like this, that are skinnier. And then there's this one that's the non-transitional version, in a sense. There's a lot of variants of the Carousel, but this is like one of the ones that seems more like not transitional before they made the final version around 2001 of the original Carousel. But yeah, my cousin he actually had this version as a kid. Though there were some differences. The spotlights were in a different order. It was just like the order of the one of the pointed tip blades, but his did not have the pointed tip blades. And now I think about it, maybe his was the version that didn't have the beefier switch housing, but from what I could remember as a kid, it did. And it didn't have these pull chains. It had those more teardrop looking ones. So it might have not been in this exact version, but it was pretty close to it. But I remember it having a beefier switch housing. This is the cousin that has the Hugger version of the Hampton Bay Rockport from the 90s, the Verde Huntington one with the beefier switch housing, and the Hampton Bay Waymark 3 Plus that I filmed that many years ago, though I never did get a video of the Verde Huntington, but all three fans are still there to this day from what my cousin told me. But yeah, it's an interesting fan that these had so many variations throughout the years. I'm glad to have another one checked off in there. I'm not sure how many of them there are that I need to get, aside from the last version that was not 4 or 5 blade, that has the black Hampton Bay logo pulls, but those are the most common. But I am glad to have gotten this. So Nathan, if you're watching this, I do appreciate it. And also, I figured I mentioned, this one has the same pull chains that my 1996 Carousel uses, so I found that interesting that they went back to this pull chain design. But yeah, and that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos to come.